Jarvis, you there?
At your service, sir.
Gauge heads-up display.
Check.
Floor preferences from home interface.
Will do, sir. Systems are now fully operational.
What's up? It's the Incurable Collector with a quick look at the re-edit Iron Man, the Bleeding Edge armor. Now, this figure was released by Sentinel. It was designed by Chemical Attack, and it's based on one of Tony's more modern, one of his more recent armors, the Bleeding Edge armor. It's a suit he wore after the Extremis, but it's not an upgrade. He did tell Mr. Fantastic that it was just something that came next. I take that to mean that it was a natural progression of the Extremis technology, maybe. But we know it's not an upgrade, so it's something different. But they do share similarities. For example, the way that the armor is stored. With the Extremis, the under armor, the under sheath, that layer was stored within Tony's body. And when he wanted to, the armor would come out and manifest itself on his skin. And then the outer layer, he could mentally control and summon it, and then it would armor up on his body. Well, with the Bleeding Edge armor, both layers, the under and the outer, are all stored within his body, within the hollows of his bone, and upon mental command, the armor would come out through his pores and manifest itself on his skin. Another cool thing about this armor has to do with the undersheath and how it creates a second layer of muscle that surrounds Tony's body. So essentially, he's wearing a second layer of skin that's made from a liquid techno-organic metal. And what this does is it gives Tony a full range of motion. He's not restricted in any way. He's completely fluid because there aren't any moving parts, say for like motors or something like that. So it gives him a level of mobility that you won't find with just someone wearing a regular suit of armor. So it's really cool in that respect. Also, if the suit, the armor itself is almost living. If it's damaged in some way, it will repair itself. It will heal. As long as his chest RT node is intact and doesn't get damaged, the suit will continue to heal. So this suit is just amazing. It's fantastic. And so is this figure. It's essentially a Hot Toys. So if you have a Hot Toys Iron Man, you know exactly what this is. It's just a smaller version. The first thing I noticed about this figure when I picked it up was how light it is. It feels like a model kit. It's lighter than the Marvel Legend. It's very light, but it has a nice build quality to it. I don't feel like anything's going to break. The paint apps in particular are really done very well. That candy red, it's very bright, vibrant. It just shines. It looks great, just like the suit from the comics. Then the gold Under Armour, it looks especially nice as well. There's also some nice silver in there. There's a bunch of detail on this figure. It just, everything just pops and goes together. It's an armor that looks well on a figure when it's done right. Now, I know that Hasbro has two versions of the Bleeding Edge armor. They have the Marvel Universe version. Then they also have the Marvel Legend version. Then, of course, the Marvel Select has one as well. But this right here is a definitive Bleeding Edge suit. The armor is just perfect. Now, if you're wondering if it's going to fit in with Marvel Legends, the answer is no, it's not. It's much bigger than Marvel Legends. It won't fit in well with them. It will fit in with some Marvel Selects here and there, but it's still an armor that you want in your armory as a standalone armor. The figure has so much detail. I love the little nodes on there all around his body, the little RT nodes. And in the comics, what was cool about those were that, you know, there were actually cameras as well, and they would stream directly to his brain. So he had it mounted all over his suit, which would give him a 360-degree panoramic view all around himself. Just really cool. They did a great job of bringing that detail out. Now, he does have the chest light up feature. It would have been off the chain if the little nodes would light up as well. But, you know, there's also a lot of mechanics with this figure. With the inner thigh, there's a mechanic. When you move the leg, that piece rotates in and out. Also, on the back, on the calf area, there's some mechanics in there as well. So it's really nice to look at. This figure is very light, but it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like you're gonna break anything by handling it. I've been posing this dude in all type of poses. I haven't had any problems. The one thing you do want to be careful of is twisting at the waist and at the neck, because that's where all the electronics are for the, for the light up feature. So you want to be careful that you don't damage any of that. So just be mindful of that. So the figure does come with some accessories. Let's start with the extra hands. You'll get a pair of freeze, don't move hands. Then there's a pair of flight hands. At least that's what they look like to me. Some hands that you can use with flight poses, or perhaps they're salute hands. I don't know, one or the other. Then you get some graboid hands, which Tony can use to grab people, choke people up, or whatever. And then, of course, you'll get the repulsor hands. Now, all the hands are done very well. The paint apps on the hands, on the accessories, are just as good as they are on the figure. So they didn't cut any corners. The detail is there. The paint apps are perfect. They look really great. On top of that, you'll get a pair of the repulsor blades. Now, these are pretty much Tony Stark's version of the lightsaber. They pretty much work the same way. He was able to damage one of the worthy during the Fear Itself storyline, so obviously they're pretty powerful. You get a pair of those. They're cool. Nothing really special about them. These guys here are what the blades plug into. So they plug into that. They slide in there, and then that piece kind of slides on to Tony's wrist, and then the fist or the hand slides on top of that. And the hand is what keeps that piece on. So it doesn't lock into place. It kind of just sits there. It kind of wobbles around. It's kind of, it is what it is. But that's what those are for. And that's pretty much it. Having said all that, would I recommend this figure? Yes, absolutely. Especially if you're a fan of Iron Man. This figure right here represents everything that us collectors look for when we're going to buying a high-end figure, as far as the build quality, as far as the articulation and the paint apps and the fun factor. And this figure has all those things, and it has it in abundance. Now I realize it's not going to fit in with some of your other figures, namely your Marvel Legends. However, it's a great standalone figure to have in your armory. It's a fantastic figure. It's essentially a Hot Toys, like I keep saying over and over again, because it's so well made. Really a cool armor, and it's a cool figure. And yes, you definitely want to get this. Alright, fellas, thanks for watching.